Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Brett, and today we're going to talk being single over 50. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about being single over 50. My mother, who has over 60 with Sandra, had a post on her vlog about a woman saying how much she loves everyone's beauty channels in the over 50 community, but sometimes she tends to feel a little lonely. She can't relate. A lot of the YouTube vloggers are married and have family lives. And I can totally understand that. She also talked about how men seem to only want younger women. So today I thought we could talk about dating over 50. So the first thing I want to say to that dilemma that a lot of women over 50 find themselves in is, number one, it's okay to be single after 50, and there's nothing wrong with that. I work in the general public and I see thousands of married couples and single people, and I'm around people all the time. I meet people, they come into the galleys to talk to me, and on top of that, I've also got a slew of girlfriends that are in their 50s, and we all have struggled with these issues at one time or another. And what I can say is, yes, it is true that men in their 50s that are close, or 60s, or tend to want to go out with younger women. As a matter of fact, I went on a date about a few months ago that my aunt, who knew someone in Illinois, this wealthy older businessman who's a friend of the family, and she fixed me up with him. And I'm 54 and he was 73, but a young 73, handsome man, very wealthy. But his wife had died last year, and we had a whole lot of fun on our date. But he was saying to me that since his wife died, he maybe wanted to go out with somebody younger, someone who didn't maybe have health issues, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'd like to go out with somebody younger too. The good thing about dating men that are older than you is you often feel younger, and that's a good, powerful feeling. I don't care how you slice it. Women associate a huge amount of their self-esteem based on how we look. And that's why these beauty channels on YouTube for women over 50 are such a huge deal. Because the hardest thing for a woman to do is age. It's biological. I think it's a natural progression that women move into a different phase of their life through menopause. So we have no control over that. We no longer hold value as producing children. Men are driven to procreate and keep society going. When women age, and our main goal throughout our young life, besides our career and raising our children, was to attract men. All you have to do is watch these young YouTubers, these vloggers, who, how to look rich, how to put on your makeup, how to do this, how to do that. Yeah, girls are still in their very young ages, like we all were, either trying to attract the opposite sex, because when you're young, you want to look beautiful, not just to get a partner in life, but because for women, it seems to be biologically ingrained in us, especially, you can see this if you've ever read Venus and Mars, to constantly need reassurance about our attractiveness. When a woman gets older, it's bad enough that we feel invaluable after menopause because, hey, we can no longer have children. Society treats you differently. What a huge difference between like 41 and 51. When you're in your 40s, you still have some of that power. And it's not just about menopause. It's just, for some reason, women in their 40s, to me, that was my greatest time in my life. I looked great, I felt great, and I had all the wisdom that age brings. So it is hard as women age to feel really good about ourselves, and that's kind of where I think our obsession with beauty comes from. It reminds us of who we were at the most amazing time in our lives. How fast does your life go by? I can remember when I was 21 like it was yesterday, and look, here I am at 54. And when you're young, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. You have that feeling that if something doesn't work out in your life, you feel like you have time to do all these things. You say, oh, you know what? This relationship didn't work out. I can reinvent myself. I'm in my 30s. I still have the rest of my life to do all these things. And then as time goes by, that changes. And then after 50, you're an empty nester. You know, a lot of people end their marriages in divorce sometimes after the children leave. You go through menopause, so society already deems you a little bit less valuable for that alone. And then men, no matter how attractive you are also going through these same midlife changes, and they're attracted to younger women because just like we want to look young, they want to look young and feel young too. Now, not all men like younger women, and there are a lot of men out there who don't necessarily want to date women younger because they want somebody that they can share cultural references with. But let's face it, men are very visually stimulated, and men are always going to love beautiful women. I see it everywhere I go. I see, 80 and 90-year-old men in the airport hawking out young 20-year-old girls as they walk by. I'm single right now, and that's okay. And I want you to know that if you're single too in your 50s, that's okay. I no longer am a slave to like rushing home, finding something sexy to put on when I don't feel like it because I worked a hard day, to go out on a date with my boyfriend or go to a club or go to a bar or go out with friends to meet people. It's too much work. If I put on my makeup and get ready like I did today, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for me. I see so many men in first class that act like big babies. These are men in their 40s, their 50s, and their 60s. Now, there are a lot of amazing men that I've met through my job, but these men complain. They complain they whine if they don't get their choice. They complain about this, they complain about that. Some of them take a first class seat and then they make their wife sit and coach. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a man hater, but men kind of make me sick sometimes. And so I feel like if I ever am going to get in a relationship or date someone, it's going to be someone that I feel is worthy of me. And I have so many friends and acquaintances that have gotten divorced in their early 50s or late 40s, and now they're remarried. And they're remarried to people that it's like good enough. Like, well, he's not my usual type, but it's good enough. Well, we don't have sparks or sexual chemistry, but we have financial stability. And, and then you have all the problems that go along with it. Like, when you're married to somebody new, you're talking division of 401ks. You're dealing with ex-wife issues. You're dealing with husbands who maybe have everything that they own is being left to their children. And where do you stand if they die before you do? There's so many issues, and so I have this plethora of women my age that I work with that are beautiful, attractive women who I flew with this gal the other day and we were talking about getting remarried, and she's like, oh my God, poke my eyes out with a toothpick before I would ever even want to be in a relationship. And she was talking about how the last guy she was with, she said he was in his 60s and still wanted sex all the time. And she said, and I was like, ew, thank you, no. The point I'm making is I think it's a natural progression it's okay to want someone in your life to be your better half. Of course, we all want someone to love us, to make us feel beautiful. But I would also say that is it absolutely necessary to get remarried when you're over 50? And let's talk about Match.com and all these other dating websites. I read this whole article in Consumer Reports. 79% of all people who use a dating website hate the process. But here's the good news. 65% of all people that are on dating sites end up meeting someone who makes an amazing, good life partner for them. So to sum it up, it's hard for women to age because society tells us that we're not worthy anymore. Number 2, it's great to look young, but it's better to be happy. No use to get a ton of facelifts and neck pulls and all this stuff when actually, what do you think? A 30-year-old's going to come along and say, wow, I'm going to date her, or a 40-year-old, she's hot? No, they're going to say, wow, that's a good-looking older woman who's had a lot of plastic surgery. If people have plastic surgery or get Botox and all that, and it makes you feel good, then by all means do it. I know that 10 years ago, men used to look at me different than they look at me now. But I have to accept that. And everything that I do to look good, whether it's lose weight or cut my hair or grow my hair or use Botox or a facial product that takes away my wrinkles, I have to be doing it for me. Because you know, in the end, what's going to attract a man to a 50-year-old woman is self-confidence. It's the biggest aphrodisiac out there. It works that way for women to men. How many men do you know that aren't that good looking, but once you get to know them, if they're dynamic and smart and confident, they become more attractive. But it's the same for women. This is where you're the most beautiful. Your personality, your brain, your confidence level. This changes. Sometimes you find love in the most unexpected places. So my philosophy is better to be single and a little lonely and available for an opportunity when it comes than to settle for a man that you're not happy with, someone you're not sexually attracted to, and someone who's just there because he pays the bills. I remember when I got married for the first time. I've been married twice. Once to my son's father, was my second husband. But when I was married the first time, I remember we were on our honeymoon. And I was always really independent, and we were on our way to Honolulu, and I kept looking at my fingers, and I kept saying married, single, married, single. It's almost like I didn't even like the feeling of being married, like I felt a little trapped. And the marriage didn't last long, and it wasn't really because of me. He did some things that were not kosher, and I knew right away something was wrong, so I got out. But I got to tell you, when I left him, I was so happy. I felt single and free, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in my 20s, I'm young, I have my whole life ahead of me. And I didn't get married for a really long time after that because I just felt, I don't know. I'm saying to you women out there that if you're single in your 50s and you feel lonely, and I'm here to say, men do not just want younger women. Number 2, be confident and be accepting of where you are in your life and how you look in this moment. And work on the things that make you truly happy, and then that will attract the right person into your life. I wouldn't nix online dating to meet somebody because it has a huge success rate, but I would just not make it the only way that I meet people. Surround yourself with amazing women. YouTube is a great place to connect and meet other women. I would get out there and do volunteer work. I would get a job. I would put myself in places where that you meet other people and you meet men, and so you become less lonely. And the last thing I would say is men are not everything. You have to take care of them, splitting both of your money up maybe between your kids, an ex-wife who's going to get a social security check and he's got kids he's leaving his money to, the dynamics of stepchildren and ex-wives and all that other stuff. You're not free to do what you want to do. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, you'd meet a guy who loved you, who was fair, who didn't have issues and baggage with his children or ex-wife, and who wanted to do everything that you wanted to do. He wanted to travel or stay home, but that's just not reality. Take that vacation and find a tour group that's for singles. Get involved in a group of great women through some kind of online meetup group. Do internet dating if you want to, but if you don't, that's okay too. Love yourself, embrace yourself. Find something that brings you joy and passion outside of a man. And then I swear everything will fall into place. I hope you found this interesting and got something from it. I know I was going on a little bit, but I just had so much to say about that. So thank you for tuning in. For those of you who've been following me, look, my hair's really growing. I need a haircut because it's getting a little, my ends are really dry and she's got to shape it up a little bit. I love my short hair, but I got to tell you, one of the reasons I decided to grow it is because I can't stand the maintenance. It's costing me a fortune. Every time I get a haircut and the color, it's like $200 and some because I am a single girl and I'm definitely not rich. So tune in next time. We're going to do a little eBay and I'm going to talk about peach blush, and I hope you have a great rest of your week until I see you again. Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe if you like this channel. Click the little bell. You'll be notified when I upload a video. Mwah. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.